Adam Sinclair, you find yourself back in Edinburgh.
Yes.
What are you doing here?
For the festival. Yes, come back to a bit of theatre in Scotland. Yeah.
Okay, so the last time you were on a stage in Scotland, I think it was 27 years ago.
27 years ago.
What have you been doing for the last 27 years?
Well, it was Perth Rep was the last place I was on a stage in Scotland.
Right.
And then for the last 27 years, I've been in Los Angeles for 25 of those. So, yeah. Via London. There was a crossover time with London, but been doing Los Angeles, doing the Hollywood studio scene and working in television there and from the odd films and whatnot and following work there.
So what brings you back home this summer?
So I came back to do a TV show here. It was called Gifted for the BBC. I came back, it was a year and a half ago, and I shot that and I kind of saw what was happening in Scotland. Scotland's changed an awful lot in terms of film and television. Famously, when they made Braveheart in Scotland, there was no sound stages, so they had to go and film in Ireland so they could have a sound stage for wet weather cover. But now, I think there's 5 sound stages, and there's more being built all the time. Scotland's giving out amazing tax credits. I was actually looking up statistics this morning, and it's bringing so much money into the country. I think Glasgow alone brought in $5 million, or £5 million, sorry. See, that's me, I'm back home. £5 million just from the film and television industry there alone. And so I made a decision that I was going to start coming back here more and more, and then all of a sudden Hollywood started to take a bit of a nosedive, and the studio system, I mean, some of the studios, they're turning into pickleball courts. Right. It's that empty. Yeah. There was an actor strike, there was a writer strike, there was a director strike, and then all these big companies realised that they could film elsewhere for a fraction of the cost.
So Glasgow stood in for New York. It's later this month it's going to stand in for Gotham City. Edinburgh has been involved in big productions. We had Frankenstein filming here last summer.
Running Man came through here.
Running Man came through.
So much happening. I think even the
so
Odyssey.
Is this an opportunity for Scotland?
I think it's a massive opportunity for Scotland. I think Scotland's always been a wonderful destination, but it let itself down with not having a soundstage. I remember working with my first movie I did with Jimmy Cosmo, and he was talking about why it didn't have a soundstage, and it was something that needed to be done. That was back in 2000. Yeah. And now it's starting to happen. I think Outlander really paved the way for that. And that was the first soundstage they opened. And now there's one down in Leith Docks, there's one in Cumbernauld, there's one in Coatbridge, they're opening one in Stirling. I think there's another couple. And with the tax credits that they're giving out, it's really attracting a lot of people, and it's getting a major foothold in world cinema and television.
So Scottish writers, the theatre scene here, the debuts for new plays, the successes that is, taking something from a theatre here and giving it a broader audience. Does that provide possibly a model for how we get more into film that are telling our stories? It's all very well standing in for Gotham 30, but when's Glasgow going to be Glasgow? When's Edinburgh going to be Edinburgh?
That's very true. That's very true. Look, there's always been a plethora of talent that comes out of Scotland, Glasgow specifically, in terms of actors, musicians, writers, whatnot, and especially in the film and TV world. And they go wide, even Lynn Ramsay and the work that she's done and stuff, and pioneered. So it's always had a voice. Now, in cinema these days, we're making movies that cost $350 million with the same 20 actors over and over and over again, and we just keep seeing the same faces. Wouldn't it be nice if we made $351 million movies and we should set them here in Scotland? Now, I Swear, the movie that came out earlier this year, great film, absolute phenomenal film, and it went international. Unfortunately, I had the whole thing that went on with the BAFTAs, and there was a big controversy with things. I think it was a load of nonsense, but anyway, that's another story. But there is stuff to be told. There's so many great stories to be told here. As I say, there's so many great writers, and so that's a lot of IP there that can be tapped into. I think with things like the Edinburgh Festival, because as an actor, you're going into a job and they're like, well, what's your social media account? What's your IP? What have you done? And you've got to list a whole list of things before you can get considered. So it's not even based on talent anymore. And so the good thing about the festival and the Glasgow Film Festival and all these things is it's nurturing talent from the ground up, and it doesn't need to have the IP attached to it. And so producers and directors and filmmakers are coming to find that talent. The festival now, the amount of things that run at the festival this year is unbelievable. Unbelievable. In comparison to where it was 27 years ago when I left drama school. I think plus some of that as well. When I left drama school, and it was kind of like,
So let's talk about that, because you went to the Royal Scottish Academy of Music and Drama, now the Conservatoire. Yeah. That has had an extraordinary record over the last 30 years of giving people the grounding that they can go to America and they can make like really big films and television appearances?
I mean, my sort of, not my year specifically, but the 3 years of sort of round about me, like Cora Bissett's here doing a big play, she's a big writer now. McAvoy was 2 years below me. Tom Ellis, he's done really well. He did Lucifer and whatnot. So yeah, I think it was voted like the 5th best drama school in Europe, right? And I know kids now coming from LA who are going to Glasgow to study at that school. And I'm meeting kids. I work as a mentor for this, so they hook me up with various kids that come out, and I talk to them and stuff like that. But yeah, we've really got a good, strong foothold, and now they've started a filmmaking course there as well. So it's just growing and growing and growing.
Tell me about that Caledonian strain in Hollywood then. Like, you know, if you see McAvoy on the red carpet, can you say, I remember you from Trader Joe's back in the day, or do you all hang around in Gerard Butler's house at Christmas, or what happens?
No, we kind of, I mean, we're few and far between, and we cross paths every now and again. Fun enough, I bump into Tom Ellis every now and again, because he lives around the corner from me in Hollywood, and we bump into, we call it Superstar Gelsons, because rock stars have to eat too. They're all in there with their eye makeup on, buying cat food and white wine. But yeah, it's, you do bump into people, castings these days. The one thing we're doing is we're changing our accents a lot to be Americans and to be British, and we're getting hired to be English. I try not to. I try to keep Scottish, and I try to say this is a relevant accent within the world, and I try and do it in most things that I do. And it's usually what I get hired for in the end, because they go, oh, that's interesting, and we can do something with that, as opposed to just being the run-of-the-mill that everybody else is doing. So I think we're referred to as the best travelled nation, right? And I think that stands true, and that needs to be represented in television and film. And so why don't you have a guy in an action movie who's Scottish? And there's no reason for it not to be there. And people like David O'Hara, he's gone out and done it. God, I'm trying to think of names off the top of my head, but there's just so many. The list goes on.
Department Q, which was filmed in Edinburgh and was a huge international success for Netflix. And they really leaned into the Scottishness. There's a lot of slang. The accents as you would expect it when you're over here. There's things like that where you can get people all over the world listening to people talking in their own vernacular. Does that show that there is power in the Scottish accent? I
think there is power in the Scottish accent, and I think it's very worldwide accepted. I think when you start getting into colloquialisms and colloquial chat and, you know, banter and things, that's where it gets lost a little bit. Famously, Trainspotting, when it first played in America, had to have subtitles, right, because they were speaking in real dense Leith and the way Irvin wrote. Basically, they were honouring with the way that Irvin wrote, and so. But the purest form of the English language is spoken in Inverness. So why shouldn't we be? You know, I mean, look, and then Scotland's very bad. Look what happened to the World Cup. I mean, my son came home. My son studies in Paris. He's studying photography, and he came home for the summer, and he was getting into Ubers, and they say, oh, what's your name? He says, my name's Hamish. And they're like, oh, where's that from? He says, I'm Scottish. Like, oh my God, you're Scottish. Oh my. People are going crazy for Scotland in America right now. We're the most popular nation in the world for about 10 minutes there. It was when all cones were going on everything. I see Edinburgh stole that. That's a Glasgow thing. I'm like, I've got some Americans, Hollywood guys over doing this play with me, and they're like, oh, what's this? Is this an installation thing? I'm like, no, it's a Glasgow thing. Edinburgh's nicked it.
What about the play then? Tell me a little bit about this journey you're going on over the next month.
Well, it was a very, as I say, I was back here doing it, and I made a decision I wanted to come back here, and a director I'd worked with before said he was coming back to do the festival at some point. He had ideas about it, so I kept in touch and we talked, and the play slowly developed. It's a play about AI, and it's so relevant, and it's about how AI and how it's taking, not just AI, but the internet itself, and how we present ourselves, this life that we want people to think that we're having. That's the way it's kind of happening now, but what happens when the lines start to blur between the life that you're living online and the life that you're living in real life? And that's really it's really going into that and exploring that. And it's a kind of allegory for how much time we're spending on the internet and how much time we're spending on social media. I mean, my kids, even my youngest, he goes out to play with his friends, and then he's like, right, everybody go home and we'll get online and we'll play.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa, go on your bikes and just disappear. It's summer, like we all did as kids,
Yeah.
but they don't do that anymore. People date online now. They shop online. All the high streets closing. So all our life is moving onto this online platform, and AI is absorbing all that information. Facebook, Meta are absorbing all that information, and they're using it and they're marketing it back to us.
Yeah.
So they're taking our information and marketing it back to us. We're feeding it. And so that's what the play is about. And so it really covers that. And it's a 1 hour play. It's very fast. It goes through. I don't want to get into too much detail and give too much away because it explains itself throughout the play. But the idea is to make everybody in the audience go, oh shit, and walk out there and look at their phone and decide whether they're going to switch it on again.